10th origin of the 9. Queensland have won 7, New South Wales 2. Is there something there? We are underway. The Harvey Norman series for 2000. Rodney Howe belts it back. Newcastle junior based in Melbourne these days. Now his Melbourne teammate Robbie Kearns, one of 3 captains, club captains in the New South Wales side. Kennedy, his first touch of the ball. Now from Tuvey, across for Kamali. First kick of the game. Down to the 30-metre line for Darren Lockyer. Took it in confidently. And David Peachey, serving notice that defence might not be his problem, makes the tackle. Tallis then runs the short side and went straight over the top of Sean Timmins. Origin newcomer, learning that nothing can be done half-heartedly. Queensland's debutant out in the centres. Paul Bowman's had a touch. Hetherington runs the short side. Dummy on the inside and then takes the tackle. So Queensland are into an attacking position, 25 away from the Blues line. Lamb, short ball for Martin Lang. He's put down. Kennedy combining there with second rower Brian Fletcher on the last tackle. Through Lamb, it's gone for Eichen. Eichen waits it beautifully. Peachey will pray over this one. He's lost it, but it's gone dead. Oh dear, what a shaky start for the Cronulla fullback.
Yeah, very dusty start there for the Blues, and David Peachey, he was waiting for the ball to just go another half a metre so he could put it in goal, but it didn't, it stopped, and the good Queensland chase, they just got out of trouble there, the Blues.
Well, it doesn't come any closer than that as Lang brings the dropout back to the 30-metre line. Hetherington now at acting half, and they go to the right for Brad Thorne. The big Bronco put down, Australian representative. Hetherington to the right, long for Lamb, equally for Jason Smith. Inside ball for Ben Eichen, youngest player ever to play Origin football. Debuted in '95. Webke looked upon as the #1 prop forward in the world today. Hetherington for Lamb now. Jason Smith's coming up on his inside. He's gone outside. Decoy runner. And it's Queensland 2 metres out from the line. I thought for a moment Bowman was a chance. Now Gordon Tallis is over but held up. Gordon Tallis over the line but held up.
And plenty of pressure on the New South Wales team. Tallis is blowing up with the fact that it's a handover as Robbie Kearns takes it 9 metres out. Great start from the Maroons. They muscle up in defence now on Ben Kennedy. Now I think they've swapped the jerseys around. That's in 11 you will find Fletcher, in 12 is Kennedy.
So Kamali kicks to open space. When I say that, a narrow corridor between Saylor and Lockyer, with the former taking it back to the 40-metre line. Bowman is the acting half. Darren Smith in the headgear. Runs into Robbie Kearns and Jeff Tuvey. Just beyond their own 40-metre line. Queensland on the second play. Third play expiring now with Lang. Martin. Now Webke takes it to the halfway line. He's pulled out. Fittler coming in to help Robbie Kearns. His right arm heavily protected. Kearns, that is. Inside ball for Tallis. There'll be a lot of that tonight. Now Bowman, 24 years of age, the first Origin player from Proserpine. From the blimp, we look down on the Origin as it starts to unfold for the year 2000. David Peachey, that will do him the world of good.
That's a marvellous take there from David Peachey. He didn't attack the last ball with much confidence, but he did that time. Beautiful take from Peachey. And already in this match, Gordon Tallis proving to be a handful for the Blues defence. He's touched the ball 3 times for a couple of massive, 15-metre hard-fought runs and a couple of offloads. He's going well.
A bit of a problem for the New South Wales centre, Sean Timmins. He's just received some attention out there. Shortened up in play only a couple of moments ago as Girdler tries to beat his man on the outside. Nice tackle low from Eichen. All the ball with the Maroons early in this game. Fittler keeps it low and behind Rogers. A good chase from the home team.
Rogers now. 15 out from his own line. Maroons getting the penalty. First of the game. Inside the 10 was the ruling from Bill Harrigan as Sailor takes it towards the halfway line. Jason Smith, a little pass up for Martin Lang. So just into New South Wales area. Oh, Brett Thorne! Swallowed up in the defence of Kearns and Howe. Jason Smith now. Taken by Kearns. 40-metre line, Blues end. Lamb scheming. Now Tallis. He's into an opening. Pulled down by Ainscough.
Oh, the tiniest of knock-ons there from Gordon Tallis. Another great run from him. But isn't Adrian Lamb playing well? He's guiding his team around the park, setting up his supports. Look at this, held it up. Tallis into a gap, showing plenty of pace. New South Wales players falling all over the place. A nice tackle and a much needed one from McDougall. There was an Ainscough out there in the 5.
Speaking of tackles, Paul, Brian Fletcher came across and cleaned up Adrian Lamb after he'd passed the football. He is still down receiving attention, as you can see. We saw him a few weeks ago knocked out in the Melbourne match where he was hit shoulder charge by Robbie Ross. Just have a look. There's Adrian Lamb, centre screen. Fletcher comes across with the swinging arm and takes out the halfback after he put Gordon Tallis into a yawning gap. It was a very good tackle from Ainscough, a much needed one.
A further comment from Andrew Voss on the sideline.
Well, Ray, we've always said the state of origin, mate against mate, as we watch Tallis burst through again in the drop ball right at the finish, but Fletcher on his Roosters teammate Adrian Lamb, and right at the moment Adrian Lamb coming from the field, as you can see, with that left arm in the sling of his jumper. This is a terrible, terrible start for Queensland and the Maroon skipper.
Unfortunately, they have a great replacement in Paul Green, who comes into the match, as Paul pointed out earlier. He came on and played mostly dummy half for the Maroons last year. He's not going to occupy that role while he's in the halfback position.
So the Blues coming out of familiar territory. They've been down here for the major part of Origin 1. Solid tackle. Very heavy stuff. The Blues get it 35 out from their own line through Tuvey. Kearns has gone without it. Peachy is with it. McDougall. Queensland right up in their face. Now Howe again. Smith and Wetke take him down. Thorne coming in over the top. Kamali. Jason Smith put a bit of a charge down on him. Lockyer. This grass, this surface, causing a problem for some. Adrian Lamb is heading up the tunnel.
Yeah, the report on Lamb, Ray, is that he's got a problem with his left collarbone. Take it in, check that. Looks to be moving fairly freely. I'd say that he'll be back. Rogers tackled 40 out from his own line.
So Thorne beats the tackle of Howe and then gets a pass away for Matt Rogers. Rogers playing it near the halfway. Hetherington giving good service from dummy half. Lockyer's kick again, pretty good weight on it as Peachy brings it back. Ainscough. Very good dart out of dummy half from the St George utility three-quarter. Ben Kennedy now. Penalty to the Blues, and quite definitely it's against the Maroons inside the 10. Kamali finds the line.
And New South Wales were desperate for that penalty. They were really struggling coming out of their own end. Piggyback helps them now with Howe tackled 35 out from his own line. Maroons definitely on top in the opening 8 minutes of this encounter.
Kearns did well. Got a ball away for Tuvey, who was on hand, made himself at the ready. Timmins now. And then Kamali. I'm just wondering what they're going to do with Tuvey. They must expect him to play the 80 minutes. Just looking through the list of likely dummy half replacements. Here they go. The back line into motion. Girdler. 11 away from the line. Now McDougall. So close. Their first real chance. And they get a penalty. Well, they've got Girdler in the side. He has these for breakfast. They'll take the 2 points.
Yeah, 2 penalties in a row to the Blues. They should open their account here. But that was the first time in that set of 6 that the Blues had spun the ball or used the pill and got it out wide. They made 15 or 20 metres. Up until then, it had just been bash and barge in the forwards. Whereas the Maroons, they have been prepared even early through the likes of Lamb and Eichen to go wide, and Jason Smith out there, and they've made plenty of ground out there.
That's a really disappointing penalty for Queensland. They've done so well to get through to the end of the set of 6. The Cardinals seemed to give away a penalty on the last tackle. Thorne and Hetherington just too long on the player, and Girdler should get the first points of this night.
Rain now coming down very heavily. 10 points in State of Origin for Ryan Girdler. The super boot from Penrith. 20 in. Hits it. And flags are up. First points to the Blues. 2-0 over Queensland after 10 minutes. We welcome our viewers taking the telecast in the UK and in New Zealand. And we trust you're enjoying it. It's a very special occasion for rugby league here. Origin has become the pinnacle. 2-0 the Blues. Off the feet. We welcome you back. And just as you were in that break, the restart came. It's New South Wales leading 2-0, but Bill Harrigan called this off the feet.
And he got a call from the touch judge, Ray, and basically changed his decision. And there's no way Ben Kennedy touched that football. Now, a big call from the Maroons who win the scrum. Run around. Bowman takes two defenders.
Is in the centre of the ground. He's 12 metres out from the line. Sail up. There they are, 5 away. Hetherington goes back to the right. Paul Green. That's Stephen Price. Hetherington again to the short side for Green. Smith back for Green. Now they bring Matt Rogers in from the right wing. Rogers is put down. Tuvey took a smack under the chin from the top of Rogers' head. Smith. Now Eichen. And he's lost the ball. It has travelled forward. Harrigan will pack a scrum 12 metres away from the Blues line.
Yeah, that was one of those bad calls you get in these types of games where if you're in the Blues defensive line, you've got to shore up and really work hard for that set of 6. They did that then, and in the end forced a mistake through Benny Eichen. Bit of rain happening now, and the balls become very greasy.
Interesting to see, Paul, to lessen the workload of Brett Camorley in defence. They're actually playing him at outside centres. Sean Timmins is coming in to play inside him. Just looking after the halfback to a certain degree.
12 minutes gone in Origin 1, and with special comments on the game, Wally Lewis.
I think both teams had concerns the way they started. Neither coach would have been particularly happy. I thought the Blues' communication and defence was very poor. Not used to seeing jersey grabbing in State of Origin football. The Queenslanders on the other side of the fence, well, I thought their speed off the ground was terrible. Of course, we saw that lead to a penalty. Jason Hetherington a little bit too slow. 6 tackles again for New South Wales. They've got to make sure that they try and contain them as far as they can for Queensland to be able to try and mount some pressure.
So Camorley will play the ball 40 metres away as the Blues launch another attacking raid. They've been few and far between for them, the opportunities. Played by Kearns. Tuvey coming right. Camorley firing it out for Ainscough. Ainscough goes back and takes on the defence of Thorne, 28 metres away from the Maroons line. It is 2-0, New South Wales leading at Stadium Australia. Fletcher with an arm free, unloading for Tuvey. Tuvey tried to scurry through a gap, and he plays it on tackle number 5. Camorley away for Fiddler. Fiddler for Girdler. Girdler's over. Girdler's in. He is going to take a look at it. Whether Girdler has grounded the ball will be the major question.
I'm also a little bit concerned about the pass from Brad Fittler to Ryan Girdler as to whether it went forward. quite sure whether Bill Harrigan has a problem with that. The Blues seem fairly confident. Congratulating going on number of players. The last tackle option, running the football. It goes to Fittler, catches it now from Kamali. Quick hands. I think the pass was okay, despite the fact it's thrown before the line and caught on the line. That's with the momentum of play. And Ryan Girdler into a big gap there. Ben Eichen had come in. Now we'll have another shot shortly as to see whether Ryan Girdler has got the football down.
Some great hands there, weren't there, from both Kamali and Fittler. There's no problems there as far as getting the balls down. And this looks like it might be the first try of the first Origin of the year 2000. Ryan Girdler. He made the bust last year, which got them a try here. Inside ball to Robbie Ross on that occasion. Great ball from Fittler, cut-out pass. Drew in the Queensland defence. Massive gap there for Ryan Girdler. He's got plenty of toe, but still had 3 players to get through. Just waiting for Chris Ward, the video referee, to make up his mind. Try or no try?
Well, I think there's more conjecture over the pass, and it's no try. It is no try, it is a scrum.
And it would appear as though that is the call, the forward pass, the problem. Was very quick hands from Brad Fittler, and when I saw it at proper speed, I did think to myself straight away, well, might have gone forward.
Well, Peter, we will be able to tell what ruling's been applied when we see who in fact has the loose head and feet. If he's held up in goal, it would come back and the Blues would have another chance. But if it's a travel forward ball, if it's a forward pass, it'll be the other way.
Paul Green's got the football and he doesn't look like relinquishing it.
It's a forward pass. That's the ruling. 2-0 the Blues. The let off for the Maroons. Defending their crown. What's the story on Adrian Lamb? Andrew Voss.
Well, Ray, it's a double dose of good news for Queensland. The no try, and the news on Adrian Lamb is a lot brighter now. They've cleared him of any collarbone fracture. It's now a pinched nerve that they're manipulating. He's expected to return.
Stephen Price will play the ball 20 metres away from his own line as Hetherington gives it to Saylor. Saylor is taken down by Fletcher and Kearns comes in, getting through a lot of work. Kearns, mind you, so has Rodney Howe, done a very good job. Now Lockyer, centre of the ground, 30 metres away, tackled by Fittler. Hetherington away for Paul Green. He puts a kick in and a chance for a regather. No, it's with the Blues.
Oh, that's a great take there from Adam McDougall. When that ball went to ground off the rebound, there was 15,000 Queenslanders coming through on that football. Well, that ball went forward.
Well, the pass has come forward off the fingertips of Scott Hill. No doubt about it. This was McDougall's clean-up work. Excellent stuff there by the Newcastle Knights. And this pass is deflected forward off the fingertips of Scott Hill. There can be no question about it. Queensland kicking on the first play.
And McDougall
it's an old chestnut. They're going to score. They have. Rogers. Matthew Rogers has scored. Well, Origin is in year number 20.
And Bill Harrigan.
I've seen him use it plenty of times.
He points to the spot, Bill Harrigan. Great ploy from the Queensland team as Lamb comes to the sideline. It was helped by the fact that Adam McDougall slipped over in turning, and Matthew Rogers, well, he probably would have got there anyway. He's got great speed. From the scrum win, all the chasers onside. Ben Eichen, who we were critical of a couple of weeks back in club football, his kicking game. Tonight he's been spot on, and Matt Rogers knew exactly what was needed. Stayed behind the kicker. You saw Peachy tried to charge it down. There you see a couple of New South Wales players go down. One of them was McDougall. And gee, it's open spaces for the try scorer.
Yeah, great tactics on a wet night, especially with the speed they've got out wide and Matt Rogers. Because on these wet, greasy pitches, the ball pulls up. Maybe on a dry pitch, that might have bounced right over the dead ball line, but it just sits up beautifully. And Matt Rogers, well, he wins the race by 10 metres. What
a great thrill for Matt Rogers. One of the crowd pleasers in the modern game. And further medicine, I hope, for his mum Carol. They've had a terrible run of luck, the Rogers family. As he tries to convert his own try. No goal. It is 4-2 after 18 minutes. Another look at it, Andrew.
Well, Ray, it should come as no surprise to us to see Matt Rogers find himself on the scorers list early. He scored all the Maroons' points in the first 2 games from last year's series. And you think back to his most recent game at Stadium Australia, the Anzac Test, 24 points he scored on that night.
20 minutes in. The Harvey Norman State of Origin series finds Queensland leading in game 1, 4-2. Hetherington doing well. Held by Kearns and Timmins. Lamb is back in. Tallis has proven so hard for New South Wales to contain, but they knew that coming into the game. Price down the short side. Tackled on the 40-metre line. Lamb across for Webke, taking it in mid-air before beating Howe, taken down by Tuvey and Kamali, 2 of the little blokes. Hetherington appeals and gets the ball away, as he does, to Lockyer to go to the left foot. And Adam McDougall is there, just outside his own 20-metre line. McDougall, taken by Price, steps out of it, and now is met by Smith and Smith, the brothers. The brothers pull him down, back on the 20-metre line. Girdler, try disallowed. That would still be ringing in his memory. How? 28 metres out from the New South Wales line. Now Kennedy. Tuvey. Running across to promote Robbie Kearns. Down the eastern side of the stadium. 4-2 Queensland. Fittler kicking in behind, but Rogers read it and was there waiting, and taken down by Girdler. Now away from Ben Ikin, finding Tony Carroll. Carroll off the bench for this Origin.
We see more movement on the sidelines. Jason Stevens and Terry Hill looking to come into the fray. But it's fairly obvious that Queensland having a much easier time taking the ball out of their own danger end. You can see Wendell Saylor wrestling 10 metres.
So now, Stephen Price. Just a couple of metres onto the blue side of halfway. Try scored by Matt Rogers. He failed to convert. And Peachy, floating back, comes off his own line. And is tackled out on the 20 by Bowman and by Tallis. Ainscough trying to get rid of Tallis. He does that eventually. Steps away from Webke. Held by Carroll underneath, and coming over the top, Jason Smith. Good work by Ainscough, just clearing that pressure zone. Fittler decides to have a go. Backs himself. Tackled 5 metres from the halfway line. Now for Kearns. Quick play the ball by Fittler, wasn't it? 43 metres away from the Queensland line, played back for Jeff Tuvey. Now for Brett Kamali. He's looking for a regather. Oh, Lamb was there, just in the nick of time. Nice work by Adrian Lamb. Saylor diving out front to take it in. Bad pass. Terry Hill on in 14. One member of that trio that made the tackle. Lang is taken down by Stevens. Cronulla on Cronulla. Bad play the ball. And Martin Lang will maybe object. Looking at his face, it's a quizzical look at referee Bill Harrigan. It was the Shark front rower tackling the Shark front rower, and really it was all his own problem, Martin Lang. Opportunity. Smiles on the Blues. 25 metres away from the Queensland line. Fittler cuts a couple of players out. Finds Terry Hill. Just inside the 30-metre line, as you see. Kearns bumping away from Hetherington. Now the 20-metre line as we look down on it. They're coming away from the eastern side. Fittler, Kamali, Fletcher. And Fletcher will play the ball. Back for Scott Hill. Very dangerous close to the line. Puts the ball on the chest of Fittler. Fittler away for Girdler. Girdler's kick is a beauty. Here's a try. It's a try for Adam McDougall. Oh, what a kick from Girdler. He put perfect weight on it. And McDougall, he read the recipe. And he's put it down.
And they've hit back in style, New South Wales, and resorted to the kick as well. The Queensland defence brought up with the fact that New South Wales had run the football wide. And nice reading by Ryan Girdler. Look at the straight line for Queensland there. You can see the winger, Matt Rogers, forced to come up when the ball came his way. And this time McDougall had to fly, and he'll get great satisfaction, as will his teammates, with that reply.
And Scott Hill's made an immediate impact since he's come on. Just drifting out of dummy half. He takes out 2 or 3 players here with a lovely ball to Fittler, and Freddie sees the space out there. Puts Girdler into a little hole. He knows he's covered then, and that's a great kick there from Girdler. Left footer, not his natural foot. And McDougall, who's been pretty good in this game so far.
Yeah, Paul, I'd go as far to say that New South Wales best have been their wingers. I think Ainsco's been great as well, especially coming out of their own end. Tremendous skill level here. Lovely pass, flat pass from Fittler, and the left foot kick, as you point out. Not an easy skill. And Adam McDougall loves this kind of football, loves to be involved in big-time rugby league, and he's making his mark in this match.
There's Ryan Girdler, 2 metres in from the eastern touchline, and he's 20 metres out. In front of a crowd somewhere around the high 50,000s, and he's pushed it away. So no conversion for Ryan Girdler. A try that he laid on. It is 6-4, the Blues over the Maroons. 24 minutes gone. So a try apiece. And again the margin 2 points. Incredible the closeness of scores. Down through time, I think the average score has been 13-11. Something like that in the last decade. And welcome back those people that have been in commercial breaks. New South Wales are leading Queensland in Origin 1, 6 points to 4. As Kamali clears from his own 30-metre line. And Lockett has got Sailor with him, but he lost his footing and decides to take the tackle of Terry Hill. Bowman now. 24 years of age. What a great thrill it must be for the young cowboy. To get called on by his peers to represent his state. Bowden. He's big and tough, he's fast, and he'll be hard to hold. Lang will play the ball now, 45 metres away from the Blues line, and really, Martin Lang has got to put his hand up for some of the responsibility in that try being scored by the Blues. That ball has travelled forward, or did he indicate a knock on?
Yeah, no, set play by the Queenslanders. Inside ball to a couple of supports back into the ruck. That was a forward pass from Jason Smith.
So that's where the scrum is. Just outside the New South Wales 40-metre line.
Up, hands up over the top. Box in, get in, Brian, get in, Ben. Let's scrum him blind tight.
David Peachy. Now Terry Hill. No gain in ground. 4-3 the handling errors. Queensland have made 4 of them. As David Peachy thinks about an unload, Paul Green, former teammate, put him on the ground. Now Jason Stevens. The Sharks to the fore at the moment. Toomey comes away, starting to run a little bit more as the game lengthens. Lang making the tackle. 6-4, New South Wales leading as Scott Hill puts it along the line for Kennedy. 33 metres away, Hill playing at dummy half at the moment. Kamali puts a high kick down to Wendell Sailor, and his only opposition lost his footing, Jamie Ainscough. Vella is on in 16 for New South Wales. Green senses one of the New South Wales forwards came up too quickly and pinches about 5 metres.
And with Adrian Lamb back on for Queensland, Paul Green slots into the hooker role. Jason Hetherington getting a well-deserved rest on the sideline, along with Gordon Tallis, who's about to come back as Bowden offloads to Adrian Lamb, long pass to Bowman.
Bowman did well. Aikens Lamb. Queensland are looking good. They're inside the 20, and they put it down. Paul Green on the inside of Ben Aiken, and a certain six-pointer.
Oh, well, great work, first of all, by Paul Bowman, who made the bust. He stood up Terry Hill, who slipped. Good support from Aiken, and doesn't David Peachey do well? He backs off, forces Aiken then to pass the football, and Paul Green, he might have been covered anyway. A good chase from Michael Vella back on the inside.
That really was fantastic work from David Peachey, wasn't it? I think he was instrumental in that pass going to ground, with the fact that he was able to cover two men, and there you can see the frustration and disappointment as Terry Hill bumps one, taken by three.
I've got to say, just on Paul Bowman, he certainly hasn't been overawed by the situation. A comment from Wally Lewis at this point in time.
Well, he's handled himself very well. I think the way he's managed to communicate with his team have probably been of big benefit to him. He knows he's got probably the biggest challenge of his life in front of him there tonight. He's got some fairly talented players around him to give him great assistance.
Kennedy. Suspect late tackle from Gordon Tallis, a tackle that was unnecessary. It's been viewed okay by Bill Harrigan. Now Kamali. He scurries around to the left before putting a kick in that came back to the western side of the ground, and Lockyer waiting for it. Tied up in defence by Terry Hill and Jamie Ainscough.
And the tide just starting to turn now with New South Wales putting that try on board. Still a couple of Queensland players coming back on side after two tackles. Martin Lang revving up through the first line, scrambles to his feet, picks up another 10. That helps.
So coming away from their own 40-metre line, and Bowden, he got an ordinary pass from Ben Aiken. Now Aiken finds Tallis. Gordon Tallis just on his own side of the halfway line. Darren Lockyer punching it down the ground, bouncing down on the New South Wales 10-metre line. Adam McDougall got the try for the Blues. He'll play the ball inside his own 20-metre line as we go to the sideline. Andrew.
Ray, interesting bench rotation by Blues coach Wayne Pearce. We've got the three centres out there now for New South Wales. Terry Hill on the right, Girdler on the left, and Timmins is slotted into the back row.
Talking of Timmins, that's him with the ball now. Brad Fiddler, Michael Vella, one of two Parramatta players involved in the contest. Jason Smith on the Maroon side. David Ferner, former Churchill medalist. That pass from Tuvey to Kamali looked a shade high. Saylor goes back, and Kamali tried to put a shoulder charge on him. It remained for David Ferner and Terry Hill really to make the tackle. Very adventurous stuff from Kamali.
And not particularly good play from New South Wales. Should have got into a better position to kick as Hetherington finds some space up the middle. They turned over possession 40 out from their opponent's line. That's a good attacking position for Maroons, and here they're taking advantage. No, on the ground.
And how many times have they opened them up? And just poor handling has brought them undone.
And
I've got to say, I think Queensland looked a lot better with the football in their hands tonight. New South Wales haven't done much at all with the footy. There's a mistake by the Blues, and Queensland, Darren Smith's got it.
Taken down by Michael Vella. 20 metres out from the line. Brad Thorne winds up. Sent Ryan Girdler away like a 10-pin.
And we've got a New South Wales player down as Hetherington finds Tallis up the middle. 12-man defensive line. Sean Timmins, I think, is the man.
Hetherington for Lamb. And Lamb, he'll go over. Adrian Lamb has gone in. The captain has scored.
Well, it's a brave effort from Adrian Lamb because he is still struggling with that left shoulder. Only moments earlier, the medical people came out. There was the crunching tackle on Scott Hill. Picked up by Darren Smith. And 2 or 3 rucks later, we see Adrian Lamb so good at this, going to the line, the ball out in 2 hands, overread by the New South Wales defence. Michael Vella missing the tackle. And Lamb strolls through.
He is so good close to the line, and he's good because he runs the ball in 2 hands, and he's always got plenty of support in that area. Ducks under it. Some awful tackles there from the Blues, and he loves it.
Yeah, I apologise to Michael Vella. In fact, it was Terry Hill who missed the tackle out wide. Furner beat for speed on the inside. Hill couldn't stop.
So an elated Adrian Lamb in his 12th Origin match. Scores his 3rd career try in Origin football. Matt Rogers got their first try. He failed to convert that. Will he have better fortune? No. Again, he's offline. It is 8-6, Queensland leading New South Wales. Still the margin is 2.
Yeah, doubt created in the mind of defenders. Lamb running with the ball in 2 hands, although I'm sure that both Furner and Terry Hill would admit to being a little bit disappointed with their efforts there. Some may question where Peachy was. I had to point at Darren Lockyer previously when Queensland had that try scored by the grubber. I think the fullbacks now tend to stay way inside the play. They're always fearing the inside pass.
The player who was down hurt for New South Wales was in fact Scott Hill, hurt in the tackle. Saw him lose the ball. There's another penalty going Queensland's way.
So the Maroons, about 6 minutes to half time, leading by 8-6. Jason Smith back for Lamb, out for Lockyer, taken down by Kumali. Eichel, Tallis. And see some of these players in Origin football for the first time finding out in reality what they've probably only been reading about in the past. It is very much at a new level, a new speed. Things that they can do in club football are much more difficult to perform at Origin level. Lamb to the air and across. A test for Ainsko, and he's equal to it. Lovely take by Jamie Ainsko.
And Gordon Tallis penalised for holding Jamie Ainsko down too long. Bill Harrigan pretty tough in that area. That's a good take from Ainsko. Looked like he might have gone up too early, but he hung up there, defused the bomb at a crucial time for New South Wales coming into the last 5 minutes of this first half.
Stevens. 3-2 the penalties in favour of the home side. And they'll be the home side twice this year. Origin 2 to Suncorp Stadium a fortnight tonight. Timmins a little bit fortunate. Now a penalty again to the Blues. What's the story on Scott Hill, Andrew?
Well, Ray, Scott Hill will return. He's just winded, but Jeff Tuvey made a little dart to the bench where Scott Hill is right now, just to get checked out by the doctor. Some concern that there may have been a facial fracture. What the doctor has told us is that Jeffrey will be off to the dentist tomorrow. There's a bit of cutting inside the mouth and also a chipped tooth.
So here comes another chance for New South Wales. In front of half-time, Tuvey serving it up for Rodney Howe. There they are, 15 out, eastern side. Tuvey works the blind side. McDougall comes in, but the Queensland defence stands tall. 11 away. Tuvey's pass a shocker. Kearns pays the penalty for it. Keeps possession though. No improvement. Using tackles. Bad pass. Jeffrey. 2 bad passes from dummy half in a row, putting enormous pressure on Kearns and then on Kumali. Queensland with the feed and the loose head just inside their own 20-metre line. Tallis. Every time he takes it ahead, he attracts 2 and 3 and invariably cracks the front line. Sailor. Tremendous wing combination, haven't they? Sailor and Rogers. This man is having a blinder for Queensland, Jason Hetherington.
Well, I've got to say, Ray, with just 3 minutes to go in this first half, I think New South Wales will be fairly happy they're only 2 points behind. They've been outplayed in this opening stanza. Queensland making plenty of holes, causing plenty of problems, and they've only let themselves down on a couple of occasions with bad handling. As Lamb taken centre field 30 out last tackle.
Tallis goes to the right for Carroll to kick, and an awkward ball, but McDougall got a good bounce, and he's tackled still inside the New South Wales 20-metre line. It is 8-6. Queensland have been across the line twice. Matt Rogers first and then Adrian Lamb. 20 missed tackles there. That's getting high, isn't it?
New South Wales defence has been appalling tonight. So many one-on-one missed tackles that they produced tonight. And Queensland have looked much the better side. And I think if New South Wales are to get out of trouble, they need to see a lot more of Fittler running with the football. He hasn't been in the game yet.
Fletcher on the inside, working off Kamali. Quick play the balls. Peachy came in. Kamali is back with it. To the ground for Kennedy. On the bounce and then the boot. Down inside the in-goal area. It's rolling around Lockyer. He'll have to take it back. Just had enough time. The chase from the Blues was okay. Timmins making it with Hill. Now Sailor's in a bit of trouble, but it's a penalty. Hand on the ball in the play the ball. Penalty to the Maroons. With half-time, 1¼ minutes away. Darren Lockyer quite happy to make certain of the kick. 12 metres out from his own line, he's content to find it. Webke on the 20-metre line, his own end of the park. We're inside the last minute of the first half. Origin 1 for Harvey Norman. And the Wizard Blues are down 8-6 as the Maroons again work close to the edge of the ruck and finding little holes. Lamb on for Jason Smith. He beat Brad Fittler. All ends up as he stepped off his right foot. And it is Scott Hill who makes the tackle on the halfway line. Lamb finding Lockyer. Lockyer tried to dance through and Webke was on his inside. Hetherington at acting hard. A job that he's done very well. Icon's kick. It proved one of the destroyers in the first half. Well, Peachy's got one hell of a problem, but he's equal to it. That's a good get out by David Peachy. McDougall. Kamali, the siren in the background. Hill coming down the right side. Puts the kick in. And Sailor's injured. Lockyer's okay, but Wendell's in trouble. That is half-time with one of the game's superstars in trouble. Wendell Sailor colliding with Darren Lockyer.
There was a nice movement from New South Wales. Then that collision, you can see Wendell taking the brunt of it. He's still down, receiving some attention. Lockyer coming across, couldn't pull out. Kamali was chasing. Not the way Queensland would have liked to have finished that half after what's been a very, very good effort from them.
Well, we'll take a break. We'll update you on the condition of Wendell Sailor in just a moment. When we come back, it's Queensland 8, New South Wales 6. And Ken Sutcliffe and Phil Gould, they'll take a look at the first half highlights. We're back in a moment. Bill Harrigan blowing time on for the second half. Harrigan, his 10th Origin match, as Darren Smith, with that massive tackle count, gets the first touch for Queensland in the second half. Those aerials that you're watching again tonight, we thank the Goodyear Company. They've been magnificent with the supply of the blimp, and we do appreciate it and thank them again. As Lang reaches the 30-metre line for Queensland. 2 points in front. A tight one is starting to really develop here. at Stadium Australia. We'll get a crowd figure for you, I would expect, in just a few minutes' time. Almost impossible to forecast the size of these crowds, though. This is only the second Origin played at Stadium Australia, and the first drew a record Origin crowd of just over 88,000. McDougall got the try for the Blues as Fletcher was pulled down by Webke and Smith. And the New South Wales side not going anywhere at the moment. Kamali puts his kick down the ground, but he couldn't have aimed it any more accurately had he have tried. For Lockyer to bring it back. Tackled now down on his 40-metre line. Little or no breeze to speak of, and the rain, though it fell heavily midway through the first half, it has now abated as Jason Smith unloads a ball for Webke, and Webke crosses the halfway line. Doesn't do anything all that flash, Shane Webke, but my goodness, he's tough. And I guess when you tackle him, you know you've made a tackle. Lang plays it now as they go inside the Blues 40-metre line, and Icon is felled by Tuvey down low and Fletcher over the top. Now Lockyer. His kick high down towards David Peachey, and Peachey has McDougall with him. Thorne came in looking ominous, but he missed Peachey, and Ainscough comes away. Let's go down to the sideline. Andrew, what were you able to find out at halftime?
Well, first and foremost on Wendell Sailor, he is still in the dressing rooms, and the word from Chris Close, the Maroons manager, he said Wendell Sailor will not be back unless the doctor gives him the clearance. At this stage, that hasn't come. From Mark Murray, pretty happy with the first half. His main instructions, a bit more patience in attack and defensively to get off the line quicker. Now Laurie Daly has been to the Blues room. Laurie, what's the story?
Yeah, Wayne Pearce was quite happy with his side's first half performance, but he thought there was a couple of areas that they could work on. Obviously the Queensland go forward, they were making too many yards in the middle of the ruck, and also the one-on-one tackles. He stressed that there was too many of them. He doesn't want his players also to ball watch the Queensland players, Jason Smith, Ben Ikin and Adrian Lamb, and he wants his forwards to win the ruck area, so it gives Fittler and Kamali a better chance to attack the edge.
Laurie Daly there talking about the Blues. And as he did, there was a lovely clean-up by Matt Rogers. Darren Smith just inside the 40-metre line. Hetherington to the right for Lamb, and Lamb puts on a little bit of a scurry. And Brad Thorne, he makes a big run down the centre of the ground, reaches the 30, passes back into the middle. Hetherington, ever reliable, was there. And then a sloppy play the ball. Lamb for the corner. Lamb's over. Try number 2. Oh, the captain. He celebrates again.
And so does the bench from Queensland. It is a one-man show at the moment, Adrian Lamb. He started the movement by putting big Brad Thorne into a gap again. He's putting it on a platter for his fellow players. Look at this. Beautiful skills. Thorne straight through the tackle of Fittler. In fact, at the end of this movement, it was a tremendous effort from Adam McDougall to stop Jason Hetherington, who was supporting on the inside. That's who Thorne finds. The long pass to Jason Hetherington. He comes back towards the sideline, and McDougall does a good job here to reach out and fell the hooker. But then we see from, 21 metres out, Adrian Lamb, he just strolls across. He scoots over, gets down low, dives across to get his second, and made it look oh so easy, as the good players do.
This is absolutely unbelievable defence. Poor defence from the Blues. They watched him. They watched him running. No one wanted to tackle him. They're only a metre or so away from him, and no one wanted to go to Adrian Lamb and stop him running the football. And they paid the penalty. Well done, Adrian Lamb, the little Queensland captain.
He's having a match, isn't he? And that's a perfect illustration of the most important player in the field is the man carrying the football, as Rogers puts the icing on, Ray.
Yeah, it's been an unhappy night goal-kicking wise for Matt Rogers, but Adrian Lamb, what a night for him.
He's done it very well, Ray. Poor selection from the Blues defence, electing to all go to the open side. No Blue defender on the blind side other than Brad Fittler, and he was still coming back on side. I thought the efforts, though, to try and move up and put pressure of the one defender that was slightly in attendance for New South Wales probably even invited Lamb even more to run to that gap. Wonderful performance. He's got plenty of support players, and they're the men that are giving him the motivation to run with the football in two hands.
Big hit on Webke from Howe. So the task is now so much harder for the Blues. They're trailing by 14-6.
Realistically, Ray, that's closer to the scoreline that we should have had at half-time after the first 40 minutes.
I don't think anybody would disagree with that. They were the better side by much more than 2 points. Jason Smith playing it now. Well, there seems to be a popular opinion here, talking to people at half-time, that Brad Fittler has to take the ball in his hands and run.
That's easy to say, but Ray, but the only way you can be effective as a 5'8" or a running player at all is if the platform is being laid. And New South Wales are ordinary in the middle of the ruck. They are not getting a go forward from Howe, from Kearns, from Bella. Jason Stevens has been quite good. But they're being easily contained, and that's just making the job harder for Fittler.
That's a perfect point, Stu. As guys have often relied on packs to build an attacking game, I knew that you and I, if we didn't have our forward packs running football and able to dominate the ruck up the middle, we were no chance of making much of an impression.
Kearns. Offload for Tuvey. Quick hands from Tuvey. Quick hands from Fittler. Kamali heads off to the eastern side. Peachy comes back on the inside. Now Kamali. Timmins is on his outside. The kick is for Ainscough. Lockyer's back there. Lockyer beating Kamali. Running away from Kennedy. Loses the ball. A chance for New South Wales. Girdler for number 2. Gets it back. McDougall puts it over the line. The Blues are in.
Well, fortune favours the brave. They kept persisting, and a good tackle on Darren Lockyer has given New South Wales the chance they needed. Wonderful work once again from Ryan Girdler. Nice play on the inside here. Once Lockyer loses the football after a strong hit. Nice play here from David Furner. He realises he's got to get it out there quickly. So did Brad Fittler. And Ryan Girdler, he just pins the ears back. He backs his ability. He goes for the corner. He realises that he can't get there himself. Fine tackle down low. I think it's Eichen. He had the presence of mind to keep the ball back in play. And McDougall gets his second. And New South Wales hit back against the run of play.
Well, Lockyer looked so dangerous, didn't he? A wonderful tackle from Robbie Kearns, which forced the ball loose. The big prop, he'd beaten 3 already. And then the boys, they knew they had the space out there. Matter of putting it all together. That's wonderful work from Ryan Girdler. Fittler played his part as well. And McDougall just finished it off. But be against the run of play. But in the big games, you can't afford to make the errors. And let's give Robbie Kearns a big pat on the back for that great hit on Lockyer.
So McDougall gets the second try for New South Wales. How many drinks does he owe Ryan Girdler? Here's Girdler, 15 in, 20 out. Hit it nicely. You don't hit him any better than that. Girdler converts. 14-12, Queensland leading. Brad Thorne just having a chat to Bill Harrigan about something as Darren Lockyer places the ball for the restart. Lockyer starting. Howe coming back. And welcome back to Stadium Australia. Again, 2 points the margin. We can't get away from it, can we? Queensland 14, New South Wales 12. Second tackle gone for the Blues. Fittler off his left foot, running across and giving it to Brian Fletcher, the Sydney Roosters teammate. Gee, I thought that might have brought a penalty. Play allowed to go. Kamali away. Oh, Ainscough taken down by Bowman. Gee, that was a good tackle by Bowman. Jolting the ball free. Webke plays it. And the Maroons attack again with Lang. Hetherington. Through from Lang. Out for Ford. Hetherington for Lamb. He jinks and goes back to the eastern side for Eichen. And Eichen is pulled down from behind by Fletcher and over the top by Kennedy. Jason Smith for Martin Lang, running into the shoulder of David Furner. Kennedy came over the top. Hetherington now to the blind side for Eichen to use Tallis, and Tallis struggling inside the 10-metre line, but held. This is the last. Eichen, Lamb through the hands, Jason Smith, and beautifully weighted, and Davo, not again. It went over the dead ball line, but I tell you what, not before a huge palpitation went right through the state.
This is a bit more good luck than good management. Oh, New South Wales got the restart from the 20-metre line through the tap. They picked up 20 and a penalty.
New South Wales a penalty. What's the latest on Saylor, Andrew?
Well, as we suspected at half-time, I mean, Wendell's plenty determined to come back, but it's a bit of a holding pattern, really. The doctor hasn't given him a clearance to return, so it's the same situation. He's on the bench, but they won't let him get back out there.
Kamali turning it back into the centre of the ground, where Rodney Howe plays the ball outside the 30-metre line. Again, it's back for Kamali to give to Furner, and Furner is held by Hetherington and Lang. Tuvey now. Kamali. Dummies to Fletcher, tries to break them. Took one a bit high, but it wasn't all that bad a tackle as Fittler rolls it in. Lockyer. He's tackled in goal. The Blues will get another 6.
Yeah, great kick from Brad Fittler. Brad Fittler starting to run and stamp his authority on this match. And it's kicks like this one that we know he's capable of. Brett Kamali, high tackle there from Gordon Tallis. That's okay, just wrapped him around the shoulders, no drama there. And watch the effort once again from Adam McDougall. What a game he is having. Girdler gets there first, but McDougall's the one that cleans him up.
So the light dropout is not all that flash. The Blues will take it back inside the 30-metre line. Great field position. Tackle 1, 27 out. Tuvey for Howe. Tackle 2, 20 metres out. Now Tuvey. Waiting for Kamali to call, and he gets the call, and Kamali pushes it out for Fletcher. Fletcher for Timmins, and Timmins is put down. Third player's gone. Kamali to the 10-metre line for Scott Hill. Hill will play. Fourth tackle down. Tuvey now has to stand to unload, and Kamali's pass finds Timmins. He rolls it in behind Bowman. Everything they've asked of Bowman, he's done well.
Well, it's good play once again. They're showing a great deal of patience with the football, going from side to side, looking for the holes, waiting for the Queensland defence to tire. We know that doesn't happen very often. Paul Bowman there gets to it. He's done terrific in his debut. I'm sure all North Queensland's very proud of him.
Very slow. This line drop out to give the Blues another shot at it. Eichen still only 40 metres, and they'll get it back to the 30-metre line with Scott Hill. Rodney Howe wants a run. There he goes. Then a short ball for Kearns. Kearns put down on the second play. Tuvey decides to go. Put down heavily there. The little fella, Brad Thorne, had to go right down to ground level to find him. Kamali, bullet-like pass for Timmins, and Timmins will play the ball. Fourth tackle is gone. Kamali to the 10-metre line. Now for Brad Fittler on the inside. He picks up Robbie Kearns, lays it down on the back for Fletcher. Fletcher will probably try to do the same. No, he takes it to ground. Fifth tackle gone for New South Wales. 2 points in arrears. As Tuvey fires it off for Kamali. Kamali puts a kick back in, looking for the uprights, and Jason Smith is tackled.
An unusual kick, that one, as Jason Smith has stayed down. Kicking for a front row forward. The best chaser was Rodney Howe. A lot of players on this side of the field calling for it, including David Peachey. Jason Smith very professionally made sure he got back in the field of play and looked like a top swinging arm from Rodney Howe.
Yeah, some gutsy defence there from the Queensland side. Those 3 sets of 6 that they've defended for might just win them the match.
So the second tackle was on Darren Smith as they transferred to play the ball. Wendell Saylor limbering up, wanting to get back into it. Webke. Fourth play. 25 out from their own line. Paul Green had a chance for a try in the first half and put it down. 33 tackles, Paul. That is.
It's very poor.
Terrible. I mean, that's heart attack stuff for Wayne Pearce.
They decided not to kick the ball on the last tackle. Great chase from the Blues. Forced a turnover right on the halfway line.
So Kennedy goes back in and Price puts him away with the help of Tallis. Kumali now for Girdler. Girdler held by Eichen for a little while before being put down eventually on the 40-metre line. There's a Queenslander in trouble.
I think it's Matt Rogers, Ray. That pass goes astray, cleaned up by Jeff Tuvey.
Matt Rogers in a deal of trouble. The trainer's got his hand in the air.
Well, Harrigan's seen it.
The play brought to a halt. His attention is centred on Matt Rogers. Saylor, as we pointed out, keen to come back into combat. And that's what happened. He looked like he got the elbow or the head. I think it was the elbow of Darren Smith. He just broadcast the official crowd. It's over 61,000, this crowd tonight. And we've got a problem with Matt Rogers. We will take a break and be back with you in just a moment. Queensland by 2 at the 57th minute. So at the moment, nobody's very interested in crowd figures. They're more concerned with the health of this modern day superstar, Matt Rogers. It's obviously a jaw problem. Those smiling eyes from Adam McDougall. So as we come back, Matt Rogers leaves the park and Wendell Saylor goes on at the 57th minute. Network 9's exclusive coverage on the wide world of sports of State of Origin 1. It is 14-12. As New South Wales spread the ball, Ainscough kicks back into the middle, cleaned up by Queensland, and it was Jason Smith. So put him down for two cleanups in the last 5 minutes. Well, of great importance.
Yeah, they've really launched their attack a hell of a lot down that left-hand side of the Queensland defence with some success. On that occasion, a bust made on the outside by Ainscough, but I'm not sure why he kicked. There was no one in support back on the inside. There was plenty of Queensland defence. There was only one play, which was Peachy. 1 against 8.
Webke out to his own 40-metre line. Oh, gee, Darren Lockyer has been taken out by Rodney Howe. I won't call it a late tackle, but it may be investigated later. Whether he had a chance to pull out of it, I'm not sure. And Lockyer, in a sportsmanlike gesture, has got himself to his feet very quickly. Looking at it again, I doubt that Rodney Howe could have pulled out of it. Still, it was a really big hit on Darren Lockyer, a man not with the football. Fettler to the halfway.
Great ball from Brian Fletcher then to his Roosters teammate.
Kumali, Girdler, onto the boot again. Girdler again. The ball goes over the sideline. I think it might be off the Maroons.
I think it might have taken Russell Bowden. as it went across. Kamali was clean up as he passed as well. Their players putting their body on the line tonight.
It will be that way.
And New South Wales do get the scrum feed 20 metres out.
What's the story? Well, let's have a look at this replay first. We'll just check the condition of Matt Rogers in a moment. Kamali taken out. Girdler gets that left foot onto the ball. Saylor turns around. Bowden played at the ball and was the last to touch it. So they got that ruling right. An important ruling. As the ball goes loose again from the Blues, and Queenslander with it through Darren Smith. Now Tony Carroll still going over the halfway. Big run by Carroll down the eastern touchline. 30-metre line. Now for Lockyer. Beats Rodney Howe. Comes to Girdler. Girdler eventually puts him away. Penalty goes to Queensland. Right in front, 20 metres out.
Well, he played a long advantage there, did Bill Harrigan. Had all the New South Wales players offside. Most notably Ryan Girdler, because he ended up being the man penalised. But a poor passage of play. Peachy was hit as he was preparing to pass the football by Darren Smith. They got the ball, and then Tony Carroll went through David Peachy again and picked up a further 40 metres. We now see a chance for the Maroons to take further advantage of the boot of that man.
Bill Harrigan calling timeout. Darren Lockyer calls for the sand bucket. Here's the bust again, Carroll. Gee, he has had some magnificent moments in Origin football, this kid. And this was a great run. Determination, look at him. He hasn't got the most fashionable style. He gets the job done. Vossi on the sideline, quickly.
And Matt Rogers, concussion still in the room. They're checking him out. Wendell Saylor, it forced their hand. They had to send him back out there. He's not right, and I think Adam McDougall knows it. Itching to have a run.
Lockyer from right in front. He makes no mistake. Extends the lead. It is now 16 to 12. 61 minutes gone. Wally Lewis.
It's the confidence building for Darren Lockyer to be able to slot that goal. Of course, not kicking by choice. Rogers sitting down in the shed, the first choice kicker. Lockyer has mentioned over the last couple of months that he doesn't want to do it, but I think he's got a fair bit of confidence back. Some of his kickoffs tonight have been terrific. They've been very low trajectory, gone to an area where he wants them, and he's been spot on.
So Saylor, we're told, shouldn't really be up there, but he wanted to be there. And I suppose motivated even further by the loss of Matt Rogers. So David Peachy, can he perform some of his magic? McDougall. Tackled inside the 40 by Bowden. Good effort by the big forward. Kennedy. Lang and Webke wrapping him up. Fittler, inside ball for Kamali. Kamali, just as well Hetherington made that tackle, because there might have been a big problem. Now Fittler combines with Kamali again. Kamali tries to slice through. 35 metres out from the line. 2v for Fittler. And he goes out for Scott Hill. He rolls the ball in behind Saylor. Lockyer's there to cover. And Girdler makes the tackle.
Ray, this is a very important part of the game for Queensland, I believe. Not sure whether anyone else agrees, but Queensland were totally dominant in the ruck in the first half. They do seem to have had a lot of that deficit wiped away, the yardage territory, getting away from their own line in the second half. They've had 3 tackles now. They've probably made a metre.
Darren Smith. Plenty of yards and tackles made by the Bulldog centre. He's had a very busy night as Hetherington spears it back for Lockyer's kick, and McDougall back on his own 30-metre line. Carries the leather back. 7 metres on his own side of halfway. Peachy. Kennedy. They're doing it tough, trying to find breaks. The forwards, that is. Rodney Howe. Queensland looking as though they're not being extended to shut them down. Little blokes like this, they might be causing more of a problem. Tuvi, now Kamali, Stevens running decoys. Fittler looking to get it away. Stevens was there, and he's going down 15 out from the line. Jason Stevens, good support there for Fittler. Fittler's with the ball now. He puts it in the air. Up they go. Down they come. The Blues have got it. Kamali unloads the ball out the back. Now McDougall. Well, tremendous effort by Wendell Sailor to shut him down.
Yeah, great work from Wendell Sailor and pretty good work from McDougall as well. There is no doubt Fittler and Kamali, they have risen in the last 15 minutes. And the New South Wales performance is going along with that. McDougall did his best, but Lockyer and Wendell combined to make sure they deny.
We may not know just how great that tackle from Sailor was until we read about this match tomorrow with the medical reports on him. You've already heard Andrew Voss reporting that he really shouldn't be there. He's there of his own demands as Lockyer is pulled down 35 metres away from his own line. Brad Thorne to the 40-metre line looking for an unload. There it comes. In a one-on-one situation, Harrigan queries the touch judge and penalises.
Oh yeah, and the crowd doesn't like it. Brad Thorne looked like he was looking to offload. Played pretty well, and there's a hand in there from Brian Fletcher, which has forced it loose, so fair enough.
And Jason Stevens was involved earlier, so there were two in the tackle.
And Ray, I think the crowd probably disappointed because they knew that Queensland have been battling to get out of their end of the football field for the last 15 minutes. They really are finding it tough. New South Wales defence has lifted, and it's got them there. Brad Fittler and Brett Kamali have got them there because of their ability to run the ball in two hands and draw the opposition.
So now Webke, just inside the 20-metre line. From upstairs, we look down on it. Queensland are 11 metres from the line. Stephen Price, Hetherington, Lamb away for Eichen. Eichen then cuts out Thorne, picks up Tallis. Tallis looking to unload. Eichen is still down as Lockyer provides for Lamb to go across for Price. And Price is 15 out. There he is, right in the centre of the ground. Hetherington for Lamb. And Lamb rolls it in, and Peachy was there just in front of Darren Smith.
Yeah, and lucky he was, because when that kick went through, McDougall had slipped over once again. A lot of players slipping around on this surface tonight. Benny Eichen's taken a knock. He looks pretty groggy. Rodney Howe gets some hard meters, and good tackle from Gordon Tallis.
Now this is timeout for the injured Ben Eichen. Third tackle has gone. We've got a bit over 14 minutes to go, and it's a very groggy Ben Eichen, as you can see, being taken off by the Queensland trainers, and Matt Rogers comes back into the game. Andrew Voss.
It's become a bit like tag team wrestling for the Queenslanders, hasn't it? One off, one on. Matt Rogers has been given the clearance to return, so he resumes his position on the right wing. Wendell has shifted back to the left wing, where they've had a bit of troubles in their second half on that left side defence. But you'd have to say, looking at that picture, Ben Eichen, there'd be some doubts about him returning for the closing stages of this match. And it was there, the contact of David Ferner, I think it was, on Ben Eichen that caused the damage.
The youngest player ever to play Origin, Ben Eichen, leaves the field. For him in unsatisfactory circumstances. Green goes on. 4 points the margin. Still as tight as you would expect from Origin football.
So that will mean, you would imagine, Paul Green going to 5'8". And I would think that New South Wales, if they get the chance, maybe would run some of their big back rowers at Paul Green, likes of Fletcher and Kennedy.
Stevens playing it now. 30 metres out from his own line. Oh, Kamali. Kamali knocks on. And it's the turnover. Brett not happy. There might have been reason to blame Jeff Tuvey earlier, but that was catchable. Handling errors. 8-7 New South Wales making the greater amount of errors.
I wonder whether New South Wales, through Brian Fletcher, has got us away with a very sneaky one here. Brad Thorne believes so. He's getting up to play the football. Fletcher, the man in attendance, and he knocked it out.
Well, the look on Brad Thorne's face said it all. It was just a look of disbelief. You're joking. But it's happened now, and we go on.
May have been disbelief, but I'm sure there's relief for Brett Kamali, of course. I mean, they tipped over that ball. I think Queensland have got to make sure that they don't let their defence around the ruck spread. Peachy's starting to hang around on everyone's hip at the moment. His support play, of course, as we all know, has been magnificent. A simple error, though, handing Queensland another opportunity.
Terry Hill is saying it came off my knee, and claiming there was no knock on. Here's the pass. Terry said it doesn't contact my hands or my arms, it comes off my leg. Gee, I think you'd have to agree that Terry Hill has a valid complaint. Play by Green. Darren Smith is just inside the 20-metre line. Darren Lockyer, Paul Green, Shane Webke, Stevens and Howe trying to stem the tide created by Webke. Now Lamb, scorer of 2 tries. Jason Smith pirouettes away from Howe, looks to unload, finds Tallis. Tallis is 3 metres from the line.
They're short, New South Wales, if they can get it out, Queensland.
Lamb getting away for Carroll. Carroll on his back, held up. But the scrum will be to their advantage.
Yeah, he's held up. But it only looks a matter of time now before the Maroons wrap this game up. The New South Wales defence looks pretty tired. They're very stretched. Another missed tackle. There's been hundreds of them tonight by the Blues, and Tony Carroll took on Peachy, beat him before. Not on this occasion. With the aid of Terry Hill, they held him up.
Here they come from the back of the scrum, and now, believe it or not, Shane Webke has got the football. Metre from the line. Smith behind Lamb. That will take some of the pressure off for the Blues. Lockyer pulled down by Tuvey. Now Hetherington. Terrible play the ball by Lockyer. Hetherington pulled down just outside that 10-metre line. Lockyer cross for Lamb, and Lamb dances off the left foot. Puts it back on the inside for Saylor. Intercepted by Hill. The ball to ground. And it's with Kamali. He says play on. Kamali down the eastern touchline. Now for Jamie Ainscough. He's not held. Comes back. Looks for support. Finds Terry Hill. And Hill is tackled 40 out.
Oh, he had to look left, Terry Hill. They had a 5-man overlap. I did think there was a New South Wales knock on at the other end, but not called as Scott Hill tackled. 38 out.
Fitted. Inside for Hill. Back across for Kamali. Kamali for Furner. Furner for Hill. Scott Hill. Then a pass across for David Peachy. Peachy now for Ryan Girdler. Here comes a try, I think. Girdler. He's over. One got away, but not this one.
Well, Ryan Girdler has beaten Darren Lockyer to score in the corner. But it all comes back to the other end of the field where New South Wales somehow came up with the ball. They took an intercept from Adrian Lamb. It was taken by Scott Hill. They throw a pass out wide that appears to be knocked on.
You are off.
Well, hang on, we've got Gordon Tallis being sent.
Don't talk to me. Just go. Just go.
He has been sent off.
Sent off or sin bin?
No, he's sent. He's gone.
He has been sent off.
And all I can think is that he has abused the referee or one of the officials to a degree that has seen a sending off offence applied. Unbelievable.
Well, it obviously has been foul language aimed at the referee, I would suggest to you. And Gordon Tallis has been sent off. I don't think he can sit there.
No, he's not allowed to sit there. He'll have to go right into the dressing room. But it must go back to this. Maybe they think there was a knock on. As Peter, we're about to get into that tape. Here it is here.
No doubt it came forward.
It's unbelievable that's been missed.
Well, the big point there, Adrian Lamb simply just stopped his chase, didn't bother, turned around to look, wait for the whistle. Unfortunately, it didn't sound. It's cost Queensland.
And yeah, great ball from David Peachey, wasn't it, the fullback, who's had a pretty good game tonight. And Ryan Girdler's also been a star for the Blues. He beat Lockyer. He had support on back on the inside. Took it upon himself. That's the money ball, that one.
He'll be a bigger star, Paul, if he can convert this try. Darren Lockyer will believe that he should have made this tackle, and the conditions were against him. He was sliding. And here comes Girdler, maybe the match winner.
It's on its way, just out to the left. It is 16 all, 9 minutes to go. Andrew Voss.
Well, this is remarkable, the story on Gordon Tallis. He has just given Bill Harrigan, I guess, the mother of all gobfuls. And what we're told is that Gordon just refused to go. I mean, I don't know how many times he had to be told to get off, but he becomes only the second player in Origin history to be set off in a match. And of course, this try from Ryan Girdler sets us up to a similar situation as last year, and it was Matt Rogers, 6 minutes from full time, who broke the deadlock with a field goal in game 1 last year. Well, and there again is the situation with Harrigan sending Gordon Tallis off.
Hang on, Bossy, did we see Bill Harrigan put up 10 fingers then?
Yeah, that's what I think happened. First of all, he was going to give him 10 in the sin bin. Gordon has then given him another, I guess, expletive, if you like, and then Bill Harrigan said, no, you're off for good. I guess in the point of this match, the text of this match, the context of this match rather, it doesn't make any difference because there's only 9 minutes remaining.
Well, Bill Harrigan has told him 5 times to go, and I do think he changed an original sin bin into a send-off. Here's Kearns to the ground, 21 metres out from his own line. This is an amazing thing, the state of origin, the things that happen. Girdler was over and celebrating a try as the first of the game to be disallowed, getting it in the closing stages with 8 to go now.
Now, obviously, New South Wales have an enormous advantage up against 12, but does that put a question in their mind as to whether they take a field goal or whether they look to take advantage of the one-man overlap? Time will tell as Fletcher takes Matt Rogers. Lockyer runs from dummy half, only picks up a couple.
Rogers, injured earlier in the game, battles away, as does Saylor, and this is Martin Lang now. 16 all, 4th tackle gone. Saylor is just outside the 30-metre line. Harrigan's hand is in the air, so we go to the last. Hetherington for Lockyer. Lockyer beats one, steps out of another, takes it to the halfway, lays it back for Lamb. Lamb puts the kick in. Now New South Wales go back to cover. It is McDougall. Tackled just inside his own 20-metre line.
You will see in the next 7 minutes some of the most desperate football you've ever seen, as both teams strive to gain some ascendancy. And it might come down to that 1 point.
Stevens.
Yeah, sit back and enjoy this last 7 minutes. This is what State of Origin should and is about. Guys out there dead on their feet. They will rise. They will find something deep. Whoever can dig the deepest will take this one out as Kamali takes the ball. Loses it. Adrian Lang cleans up. That's a turning point.
Bowman. How many turning points have there been? It's a very long and winding road, this one. State of Origin 1. 16 points all.
Well, Paul, one man short. Let's put it back the other way. The Queensland look for a field goal.
Bowden away for Hetherington to give, and Thorne to take it up.
I think as soon as possible, and what that does, 17-16, gives him the strength to go on for the last 5 minutes with 12 men.
And we would imagine that here comes Rogers coming in behind the ruck area. He wants the football.
And here it goes.
It's gone to Lamb.
Lamb puts the kick in, and it's out to the right. It'll come back for a 20-metre optional for the Blues.
And Matt Rogers just said to Adrian Lamb, look, I was on the other side ready to go. Well, Adrian Lamb hit that one reasonably well under pressure.
Stevens. 16-16. The biggest margin between them was when Queensland led 14-6. But for the most part, there's been 2 points between them, and now they've drawn level. They're in the home straight, and they're going nose for nose. As Fittler, the pass is picked up. No, it's not. I thought Lamb had it, and he's ruled 6 to go. A look of bemusement on the face of Sailor. Terry Hill. 5 from the halfway. Tuvey, a dummy half scoot. Inside ball Hill, then Kamali, now Fittler. Inside again for Rodney Howe. Back on the inside for Kamali. To the 40-metre line, Kennedy. Kennedy for Fittler. Fittler gets it away for Scott Hill. It's on the ground. Ben Kennedy picks it up.
Touched again, Ray. 6 more.
So New South Wales with a fresh set. A 23 out from the line. It's Kearns. And Kearns runs into Jason Smith and is put away. Tuvey now. Kamali inside for Fittler. Fittler looking for Tuvey, finds Tuvey. Tuvey goes out for Howe. Howe flops the ball over. It's New South Wales for the corner. They're over. It's David Peachey. Peachey scores. He points to the spot. Try.
Good on you.
76th minute.
Good on you, David Peachey, in your first Origin match. But beautiful interplay from the Blues. They've grown in confidence with the good piece of luck they had earlier. And the pass here, well, it could have been a try at the other end of the field. I think it's Rodney Howe who throws it. Fittler goes back on the inside. He gets 2 defenders involved. He passes off to Jeff Tuvey. Jeff Tuvey finds Rodney Howe. He goes across field, and if we freeze it there, just have a look at this man, Wendell Sailor. He can see the pass coming across as play continues. He tries desperately to pluck it out of the air, just misses it. In fact, he might have got his fingertips to it. And then the pass from Timmins, is it, or Ainscough, I think, might have thrown the last pass onto David Peachey. But this is the money ball here. Well, there were a few of them. Fittler's offload was great. This was pinpoint. He did get a touch.
Yeah, Jamie Ainscough, the man out there to give the ball to David Peachey. Backs up terrific, leave it. Brad Fittler and Brett Kamali, they're the people who have inspired this Blues team. The bench goes up. They've had a great last half hour, those two players.
Well, what a kick for Ryan Girdler to convert David Peachey's try. 4 minutes from time. Girdler from the sideline. On its way and across the face of the uprights. No addition to the scoreboard. 4 points the margin. 2 minutes to go. Another look at it.
Ray on alongside a very excited former New South Wales captain Laurie Daly. I mean, what about Origin football? Laurie just keeps throwing up the great finishes, way back to Mark McGaw in '87, scoring them to death. I'm not prepared to say Queensland aren't out of it yet, but what a try for Peachey.
Kennedy getting a great bounce. It totally wrong-footed the Queenslanders, chasing down on a shallow restart.
Sorry, Laurie.
That's all right, guys. Very exciting, but that's what State of Origin football's all about. You really have to go for 80 minutes. There's a minute and a half to go. I don't think you can write Queensland off just yet.
Kearns, 41 metres away. Just a tick over 2 minutes to go on our timepiece. Kamali to play it. 32 metres out. Brad Fittler. The ball still in the field of play with Ainscough. He plays it on the 30-metre line. Lofted pass for Kamali. Piles on some pace. Kearns catch and pass. Rodney Howe puts a tired kick up in the air. Down it comes. Rogers can't take it. The Blues again are on the attack. 6 more tackles. They're a metre from the line. McDougall waits for to play the ball. He goes over. McDougall is not over, but in fact is short. Now for Girdler. Girdler put down by Darren Smith, and the crowd roar, claiming Darren Smith was offside. And now Kearns knocks on. Kearns knocking on.
Well, here we go. 1 minute 10 seconds left. Queensland have proved in the past they can do it. And if they're going to do it, it'll be Lockyer, Rogers or Saylor.
And Paul, if they're going to do it, it may well be through a kick. We saw Kevin Walters in Origin football put a chip through, or a fairly long kick through. They came back with the football. We saw them score a try with the long kick in the first half. And they do have to travel 80 metres. Might be the quickest way to go.
40 seconds to go. Stephen Price. 25 out from his own line. Green. Russell Bowden. Trying to trample out of Ben Kennedy's tackle. 20 seconds. Hetherington for Green. Taken down by Scott Hill. Adrian Lamb throws the dummy, makes the break, and is tackled on the halfway. 5th tackle for the Maroon.
Last play of the game.
Hetherington knocked on by Paul Green. New South Wales, they have won it. The hooter in the background. What a climax. What a finish. Leadership fluctuating. Tired bodies out there, barely able to smile. Queensland know they had it. They will fancy they were the better team. They will think about a couple of tough calls. They will talk about the turning points. But in the final analysis, Wayne Pearce's Blues have won.